This is Eileen Griffin with the Heartland View from the Heartland Daily News, bringing you information and analysis about public policy stories affecting your life, your health, your freedom, and the nation's economy. We're going to start this week, we're going to talk about the nation's economy, and we're going to start with this foundational concept that we learned from our President of the United States this week, which is this idea that things can be free. So he proposed a $3.5 trillion budget and then told us that it would cost us nothing. Now, unfortunately, most people did not believe that, so it immediately came under scrutiny and under fire, and now people are talking about a new thing called Biden math. So we would say, it might just be an oversight on President Biden's part, but of course this mantra is perpetuating through the system, and we're hearing it in the media, we're hearing it through other people, this idea that it's going to cost nothing. Now, this $3.5 trillion bill includes all kinds of things that are going to be very, very costly. So his idea, his quote, he tweeted out his explanation for his Build Back Better plan. So he says, quote, "My Build Back Better agenda costs $0. Instead of wasting money on tax breaks, loopholes, and tax evasion for big corporations and the wealthy, we can make it a once-in-a-generation investment in working America." End quote. So you see there, his plan, it's not that it's no cost, it's just that it's costing people that apparently nobody cares about. So it's going to cost the wealthy, it's going to cost corporations, and that's supposed to make us all feel better and make us think that it's okay to spend this money because it's not coming out of our pocket. But of course, as Shapiro states, that's really asinine. Because first of all, it's not possible. It's already been documented that even if you take every single dime from every single wealthy person in this country, it won't cover all the costs of the massive spending. And secondly, wealthy people aren't stupid, and they're not going to just sit there and turn over their hard-earned income to try to chase some of these bills and help the Biden administration with their dream. So as this continues on, we're looking at what the explanation is. So the wealthy people, we know that can't be the end of the story because it's going to have to filter through the rest of the system. So how are the Democrats getting people on board with this massive spending plan? Well, they're twisting the arms of Republicans and they're giving these explanations. And of course, they always go for the real sob stories as well. It has to be painful and sound horrible. And so we create the massive need and we create this crisis, and that's how we get the money approved. So for example, Connecticut Representative Rosa DeLauro, she's also the chair of the House Appropriations Committee. She said in a statement about this bill, this $3.5 trillion, quote, "It is critical that Congress swiftly pass this legislation to support critical education, health, housing, and public safety programs and provide emergency help for disaster survivors and Afghan refugees," end quote. Afghan refugees. So why do we now have a crisis of Afghan refugees? Let's just refresh our memories. So the Biden administration made the decision to pull out of Afghanistan without what appeared to be any type of plan or systematic approach or any logistics in play. Left Americans behind, left American equipment behind, very, very expensive equipment, and left our military in a position where 13 service members died and many others have been wounded. That's what happened. Well, the Biden administration, while just kind of rushing past that, now they're going to expect us taxpayers to cough up more money for Afghan refugees, and that's what's now driving this demand and need, or one of them anyway, for why we have to rush quickly, she says swiftly, to get this passed. More money for the Biden administration to spend. So all these decisions, all these spending plans, it's going to cost a lot of money. And those people that continue to say it's going to be the wealthy, I think we all know that that's now not what's going to happen. We know that the wealthy, not only is it important that they continue to have opportunities and they continue to thrive because they continue to drive the engine of the rest of the economic system in this country. Shapiro says, quote, "The engine of American growth has never been the government. It has been restrictions on governmental power and bureaucratic arbitrariness. Innovation requires freedom. Investment requires both liberty of choice and impartiality of governing system. The heavy hand of government will be damned costly," end quote. So we know we need government to get out of the way and we need businesses to thrive. So the last thing we really want to do is put more burden and clamp down on businesses, corporations, and the wealthy that tend to support businesses and open businesses and energize the economy. So how else are they going to pay for this? So if we know they're going to basically dispose of the wealthy as quickly as possible, take what they can, move on, what's the next step? We all know this. It's going to go to the next layer of taxpayers. So the idea that it's going to be the wealthy, again, we've just described all the reasons why that in itself is a flawed plan, but we also know that's also false. It's going to go into other layers of taxpayers. So Biden's latest proposal is going to be to target the IRS and expand the IRS dramatically. And what he's going to do, his proposal is a vast amount of money that's going to go into the IRS budget and a large number of additional IRS agents. Part of this is also a proposal to require banks to turn over their records to the IRS for analysis. And what they're going to do is they're going to demand that they turn over every account holding more than $600. Now that should flag to everybody. If you wanted to believe, if you really, really, really wanted to believe that this program and all of his proposals are going to target the wealthy, then why would they be looking at accounts over $600? $600. Wealthy. So if they're going to look at accounts over $600, they're going to be looking at pretty much everybody. And all that account data is concerning to be shared with the IRS. It shouldn't be shared with anybody. That's been a big philosophy of banks and credit unions for years, and it's one of the things that they're held accountable for is data privacy. There's all kinds of regulations to ensure data privacy. There's an enormous amount of expenses that goes into data privacy. Now, they're going to be told in a basically complete opposite of what they've been functioning under for many, many years. Now, they're going to just open up their customers' confidential private financial records and give them to the IRS. So the IRS, could we count on their privacy? If we turn it over to the IRS, do we feel like, well, that's all right, the IRS will have my data, but they'll keep it confidential? Well, it wasn't too long ago that we saw the IRS accidentally, disclose some private data of very, very wealthy taxpayers in this country. So do we really think that that's going to be the way they're going to manage? Do we really think there's going to be privacy in the system? The other piece of this, of course, is it's a huge burden for credit unions and banks to have to pay all these things, to have to pay for additional staff and additional systems to provide whatever reporting the IRS demands, assuming this gets approved. So additional money, additional resources, additional expenses put on banks and credit unions, put on American citizens, we expand the IRS. Now, in addition to the burden of the time and anything that's going to be disruptive in terms of having to respond to more IRS inquiries, what about weaponization of the IRS? Now, where have we heard that before? So the Ways and Means Committee, the Republicans, have already come up and said, we are very concerned about weaponization of the IRS. So Republicans on the House Ways and Means Committee have said, we need to take a look at this. So why would they be concerned about weaponization of the IRS? Boy, that just sounds crazy. That just sounds fantastic. It's impossible to believe that the IRS would do something untoward or that they would do something that would be unethical. But yet, it did. So we know, historically, we actually have already seen weaponization of the IRS. And it happened during the Obama-Biden administration. So how far-fetched is it that it would happen under the Biden administration? So when Joe Biden was the vice president, President Obama was the president, we saw this horrific scandal. And it was revealed that Democratic activists in the IRS used their position to target conservatives, Christians, and Tea Party members. They inappropriately flagged these accounts. They inappropriately went after these groups for additional reviews, excessive reviews. This happened in 2011, 2012. It was revealed in 2013. Conservatives said they knew they were being targeted. They could tell they were being harassed. They were asked and inundated by numerous questions, slowing down their process, making it very difficult for them to function. So this political targeting and harassment happened. It was reported. It was actually proven. So when this happened, the IRS apologized. The consequences? None. The person who headed up the organization, Lois Lerner, what consequences does she face? None. She retired with full benefits and without any fear of being facing criminal or civil charges for her role in the IRS scandal. In the IRS scandal, you might recall, when it was revealed, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell at the time said, quote, "Today's apology by the IRS is proof that those concerns were well-founded. But make no mistake, an apology won't put this issue to rest. Now more than ever, we need to send a clear message to the Obama administration that the First Amendment is non-negotiable and that apologies after an election year are not a sufficient response to what we now know took place at the IRS. This kind of political thuggery has absolutely no place in our politics." End quote. No place in our politics. So the IRS weaponized in the past, no consequences. They apologized. That was nice. No other consequences. Could it happen again? You think about it. Well, we do want to end on a positive note, give you some hope. So there are people pushing back against this. There are people that are standing up. For example, on the weaponization of the IRS, there's going to be a group. The House and Ways and Means Republicans are forming a committee. They're going to have a seminar called Weaponization of the IRS, A Sordid History and the Need for Taxpayer Protections. So they'll be discussing this issue. There are other people. We have seen the Chamber of Commerce come out against all of this spending and some of these other bills. There are business groups revolting against the Biden plan for the IRS. There are banks fighting against and bank groups fighting against this requirement that they're proposing to mandate that they send out their customer data. And in general, the GOP is opposing things like expanding the debt ceiling and some other things. So there are some people fighting back. Please keep your eyes and ears open as these things, because it's all your money, it's your life. We all as Americans own this, so we need to be vigilant, we need to pay attention, we need to look beyond the rhetoric and really understand what's going on here, and you need to keep listening to the Heartland View. So that's it for this week. Again, for all these stories, please go to heartlanddailynews.com, and to learn more about the Heartland Institute, please go to our website, heartland.org. As always, thank you for your time, thank you for listening, have a great week.